Have you ever stood in a crowded room, smiling politely as someone walks up to you, extends their hand, and says their name? You look them in the eye, you shake their hand, you say, "Nice to meet you." And then, exactly 2 seconds later, a quiet panic sets in. The name is completely, entirely gone. It hasn't just slipped your mind. It feels like your brain actively deleted it the very second it registered. You spend the rest of the conversation nodding, smiling, and desperately hoping no one else walks up and forces you to introduce them. At first, society is quick to diagnose this. We're told that forgetting a name means we are self-absorbed, distracted, or that we simply have a terrible memory. We are conditioned to assume that if we cared more, we would remember. But when you look at how your mind actually works, that explanation doesn't quite land. Because you didn't forget the name out of malice, and you certainly didn't forget it because you don't care. What if I told you that your brain deleting someone's name is not a sign of selfishness or a failing memory, but a highly evolved, deeply protective psychological response? What if your nervous system isn't running away from connection, but is actually overwhelmed by it? Before we uncover the hidden psychology behind why your mind pulls off this sudden disappearing act, I want you to do something right now. Drop a comment below and tell me, what is the most painfully awkward situation you have ever been in because you forgot someone's name? For most people, forgetting a name triggers an immediate spiral of self-judgment. You walk away from the conversation, internally beating yourself up, convinced that you are broken or fundamentally bad at socializing. But to understand why the name evaporates so quickly, we have to look at what your brain is actually doing in those first few seconds of meeting a stranger. Psychologists and neuroscientists know that when you are introduced to someone new, your brain is not acting like a filing cabinet. It is acting like a security system. In a fraction of a second, your amygdala and your prefrontal cortex are processing an overwhelming amount of data. You are reading their micro-expressions. You are calculating their tone of voice. You are noticing their body language, the tension in their shoulders, the authenticity of their smile. Your brain is answering a primal, subconscious question. Is this person safe? Are they friendly? Where do I fit in relation to them? This is what psychology refers to as threat and safety scanning. Your nervous system is prioritizing emotional and physical reality over abstract data. A name is just an arbitrary sequence of sounds. It has absolutely no survival value in the first 5 seconds of an interaction. So your highly sensitive brain prioritizes the human being standing in front of you, and the arbitrary data, the name, is simply pushed out of the buffer to make room for the deep, complex processing of their presence. But there is a second layer to this, a plot twist that highly thinkers and highly observant people often fall into. Psychologists refer to a phenomenon known as the next-in-line effect. When you meet someone, you are not just observing them, you are intensely aware of yourself. You are managing your own social mask. You are making sure you make the right amount of eye contact. You are regulating your own nervous system to appear calm, collected, and polite. This requires an immense amount of cognitive load. Your working memory is like a small table. You can only put so many items on it at once. When the table is cluttered with your own self-awareness, your anxiety, and your desperate attempt to maintain a flawless social performance, there is simply no room left to place their name. The irony is staggering. You don't forget their name because you don't care about them at all. You forget their name because you care entirely too much about how the interaction is going. You are so focused on not making a mistake that your brain sacrifices the one piece of information you actually need. To truly understand why your mind operates this way, we have to look back at how your nervous system was programmed in the first place. This behavior doesn't appear out of nowhere. It often starts in a childhood where you had to grow up entirely too fast. Perhaps you were the peacekeeper, the quiet achiever,
or the child who learned early on to read the tension in the room. When a child is consistently put in charge of emotional regulation, they develop hypervigilance. Your survival depended on reading the mood, not memorizing the details. You learned to scan for unspoken expectations and adapt instantly to keep the peace. So, as an adult, when a stranger walks up to you, your brain instantly reverts to that factory setting. It doesn't care about the trivia of a name. It is entirely consumed with reading their emotional state. You are performing a complex psychological assessment in milliseconds. The name is discarded because to the hypervigilant brain, it is secondary to your emotional survival. But there is a second layer to this, a quiet cliffhanger that highly independent minds often fall into. When you become too self-critical about your social perceived failures, isolation becomes your default safety mechanism. You start avoiding gatherings, you dread small talk, you retreat into your solitude, falling in love with your empty house because peace feels better than the hard work of vulnerability. You convince yourself that you are better off entirely alone because if you don't talk to anyone, you can't forget their name, you can't disappoint them. But true kindness and true healing must include yourself. The real tragedy of forgetting a name is not the 2 seconds of awkwardness. It is that you have taken a single, beautifully human moment of imperfection and turned it into an indictment of your entire identity. The people who struggle the most with remembering names are often the ones who possess the highest levels of cognitive empathy. You don't just see a person, you see the layers of things most people walk past. While a superficial person might just hear the name and file it away, your highly active brain is already running 10 different background processes. You are analyzing the environment, you are feeling the energy of the room, you are absorbing the tension or the warmth radiating from the other person. You process the world in high definition. So the next time the name evaporates from your mind, do not panic. Do not fall into the trap of self-interruption and rumination. Instead, take a quiet breath. Recognize that your nervous system was simply overwhelmed by the beautiful, complex reality of encountering another human being. It's okay to smile, lean in and say, "I am so sorry. I was so focused on meeting you that your name just slipped my mind. Could you tell me again?" That is not a failure. That is vulnerability. And vulnerability creates a far deeper connection than simply memorizing a sound. You are not broken for forgetting. You are simply a deep thinker in a fast-moving world, learning how to be present without demanding perfection from yourself. If this video helped you recognize yourself or understand someone you love, you are not alone here. This channel is a space for understanding the quieter psychological patterns that shape how we think, connect, and move through the world. If you found this meaningful, consider subscribing so you don't miss future conversations. And remember to drop a comment below about your own journey. Your perspective might help someone else finally feel understood. Thank you for watching.